No, don't. No, don't. That's enough. Horrible.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm watching the Fall of the House of Usher, episode 5.
The Telltale Heart. Indeed.
Yeah. Really clever.
Yeah.
Very clever with the mechanical
Uh-huh.
and the medical implications.
And also truly disgusting.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start in the past?
Sure.
Because that was, Madeline went looking for a job.
My eyes still slightly glaze over every single time.
Well, it's okay. So all the past stuff has been following a very specific pattern where it's like Roderick does something sort of stupid and then Madeline tells him what he should have done instead. And Annabelle is just sort of there going, I feel gross about this.
Further and further away each time she says it. Well, no, because Dupin is there.
He's
with
involved
them.
in it now. Because they're trying to take him down.
Okay. And Madeline's idea is what now?
To computerize all the documents, but she came in a little too hot, and he was like, "You're obviously."
So that was her plan.
Yeah,
her initial plan. Okay.
I think so. And he was like, "You're obviously trying to get these corrupt files from me, and digitize them. I wasn't born yesterday." And it was all,
he said all of the sexism in like it was the 1970s.
I almost literally part of me almost wanted her to just like undo his pants and start blowing him right there just to surprise him.
Yeah.
Like just to be like,
I mean, maybe. I think it was one of the things that crossed her mind.
Yeah.
I do feel like I owe Willa Fitzgerald a slight apology because I kind of was shading her earlier and I actually think she's fantastic.
She's doing
and
so
she's
good.
Also, like, she looks like something to me now.
Yeah.
Because I think it might have just been Emma.
Maybe.
What wasn't that her name? Because I didn't see Reacher or whatever it was you guys watched.
It was the one guy from Hunger Games. Yeah. It was fine. It wasn't like amazing, but she was pretty good.
She was putting on a country accent and really.
It wasn't so bad.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't so bad. It could have been better, but also young Dupin was in it too. Mm-hmm. He was like a cop.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good. I liked it. The second season comes out in December. I'm kind of interested. But yeah, so basically they're all working together and the plan now is to take all of the documentation when they're moving into the new building because it'll be easy for stuff to get lost like on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What did we have in mind? Well, I mean, we had the Telltale Heart.
Yeah.
It was
Victorine.
Tania, right?
Yeah.
Tania Miller is, I think, one of his aces.
Yeah.
Because this is the second episode 5 that she's carried.
Oh my god.
She's like,
I will say I do think she carried episode 5 of Bly Manor.
That was breathtaking.
More like calmly. This was a very twitchy performance. Well, I think it was supposed to be, but it was very twitchy.
It's also arguably, beside The Raven, it's his most famous work. So there wasn't. I was very impressed with how they were able to make me tense and suspenseful. Yeah. Considering we were pretty clear what was happening the entire time.
Yeah.
And I that's where, to say it again, I really liked the medical like, I like that it was like chirping and not thumping like a heart. Like I like that he brought something new to it.
Well, it didn't throw me quite so much because for most of my life, my grandpa had a plastic heart valve because he had scarlet fever as a boy and he ticked my whole life. You could hear his heartbeat from like across the room.
I don't care for that.
No, it was actually sweet. It was nice. You could always hear his heart. I liked it.
I'm glad.
He was a nice grandpa. But yeah, so I thought that actually didn't throw me quite. It was very squelchy in a way that my grandpa was just like, it was not a gross sound. It was very like a plastic click. Yeah. I was pretty sure that like she killed her girlfriend, but actually like seeing it,
breaking it up the way that they did, and that's what I mean. Where I was like, even though we were fairly certain what was happening the whole time, I still managed to be like,
well, because if we know one thing is that she doesn't give a shit about those monkeys, so it couldn't have been the monkey heart.
I really appreciate Mike Flanagan's sensibilities, and I really, really, really appreciate the places where he leans into some of the more upsetting and grotesque areas, because her eyes twitching.
Oh, and the groaning.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
That was
Just
really
with head stuff. You make so much noise, and you don't like when you get knocked out. You make noise,
but we're so accustomed to television, like just thumping people in the head, and
then they're out cold. Yeah,
and because they did it with Robert Longfellow in Midnight Mass, where he fell and hit his head on the table,
and that was like, really bad. I will say, I want to give
her like haggling, like reason, like trying to reason with it.
Yeah,
like
I want to give a shout out to the actress. Her name is Paula Nunez, and she was really good. Yeah, she was. Really quite good. And because that all of the groaning and the twitching was really upsetting, but the worst part to me is when she tried to lift her head up and her hair was just saturated in blood. Ugh.
Well, because when she was laying down, it was like, I can't tell if that is a crown of hair or a crown of blood.
Because the blood was so dark and her hair was so dark. Yeah, I mean, wow, though, really good. And the scene with her and Bruce Greenwood too was really something as well, with Tania, and because he just, the minute that he was like, well, she's quite dead, and I was like, don't say that to her. She clearly doesn't know that she's dead.
Well, because it was I don't remember if this is true of the source material, but it was just so odd because he could hear it. Yeah. And we had been sort of playing this game the whole episode where she was hearing things. Yeah. And I mean, granted, the other person was Verna, but they did figure out, well, they got a lock on Verna, and Madeline did for sure. Yeah, Madeline thinks that Roderick fucked the barmaid.
Because holy hell, Leo taking that picture, that was a hellish photograph. Yeah. And that's presumably the last picture he ever took, was that fucking photo. Terrifying.
That photo was so, everything about it was so
because
upsetting.
He's also in the background of it.
And it looked the flash was sort of unnaturally bright.
And her eyes were very blue in a way that Carly Gugino does not suit blue eyes.
And just because they didn't make a meal of it, like they didn't put a button on it, but the fact that she's holding a rat and not a cat, it's just so corrupted.
Well, because she is the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she was the cat. Yeah. Super creepy.
Well, and I think
ghastly.
I think the blue of her eyes, it's like the reflection of like a cat when you you're showing the eyes or whatever.
I mean, really, it's good stuff. Really good stuff. Because I remember, wasn't she wearing blue contacts for all of Hill House?
Maybe.
Or she was wearing.
No, Henry Thomas was.
That's right. I was like, someone was wearing contacts that were not the right color in Hill House, and it was weird every time.
And also, we're slow on the upkeep. Henry Thomas, Frederick.
Well, Frederick.
Yeah. He thinks that his wife might have been the mole.
Well, I think so.
We think that he
just because
he was so fixated on the phone.
And he also had that, so he's insisting that Morella come home.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to.
She doesn't. She said no. Yeah. And they, again, didn't acknowledge that within the show. Yeah. But
so he's built this whole suite for her and everything, but then he had that really unsettling conversation with Lenore where he was like, we're almost ready for her and like all of this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, he thinks that it's her. And that's why she had the burner phone, because she's been in touch with the feds. That's what he thinks. He also, we didn't touch on it really last time, but he did try to use her fingerprint and her face to open the phone, and neither worked, obviously.
They're not doing well. They're hanging on by threads.
They tried to have like a meeting, the 3 remaining ones, and still Frederick and Tamerlane were like, it was 2 against, well, yeah, but it was like
Madeline.
2 against Victorine, and so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They have pretty useless bodyguards now.
And Verna was 100% talking to Tamerlane's bodyguard. She like ducked around the corner.
But he didn't remember. Yeah. He didn't know that was happening.
Yeah.
Which is, And she's also losing time. She's like blacking out, I guess.
Well, she's according to Bill, she's not sleeping like at all, like a horror movie,
like horror
level
movie, not sleeping.
Which was very funny as well.
She was like, "You walked in the park with her," and he was like, "That was you." that was
super good.
That was really rough.
He is doing a lot for me in this. He's
really cute.
What's his name? Matt Beadle.
Yeah,
he's very cute. He's doing such a good job. I think it's like
Samantha is not holding back.
We learned a bunch of stuff about their marriage, which is that she essentially just picked him out of a lineup.
He was not the only, she had a list.
Yogi Johan was runner up, and that he's easily replaceable because he wants her to push the launch of Goldbug, which is less goop and more just like a cosmetic subscription box that she needs him for, because otherwise it's not a lifestyle brand. It's just shitty cosmetics. It's just Birchbox.
And they also are like, she needs to get this done before, I don't know, Gwyneth Paltrow can sue her or something. Like,
yeah, I don't know. The thing that he said about like the U.S. government is like suspending the case against your family. I think you should be suspending your like stuff as well. He seems a lot more on the up and up about the whole thing than and she's just like, now. She's insane. I don't know.
That was very heavy. I'm trying to remember what all there was.
We saw the mothers. Will meant the mothers of the ones that are dead already. Will mention that.
But we didn't make like
they were
nothing
like
was of it.
No, they just were like scowling at Roderick for like what didn't really feel like except for that their kids are dead, but it's like they were scowling like he murdered them.
I mean, didn't he?
Not physically.
That's largely kind of it. We really liked it, and again, it was vibes. Like it was atmosphere. It was a lot of.
Have you noticed that Verna did not give an out to Leo or to Victorine?
Well,
quite like she did the others.
Okay, so she didn't really give Leo an out, but she was like insistent that he take another cat.
Yeah, and then was she giving Victorine an out at all?
She kind
I don't know if I would call it an out.
Going into like a dreamy thing, but I think Victorine's out already happened when she was like, "I'm worried about someone stealing my social security number," and then Victorine just like violated all of HIPAA
because and she also like Verna kept making Victorine walk through it, go through the paces. So she was. It's not so much that she was getting her out, but she was making sure that Verna was of sound mind. Like, was very deliberately doing this.
Well, and it did keep kind of going, like, dreamy in that meeting. And she was like, if I could just meet Dr. Ruiz, like, I'd feel so much better about it.
And she kept saying, like, she slipped into, like, an incendiary tone a few times.
Yeah.
It was...
Well, she switched from whoever she is into Verna, like, a couple of times. But it was what Victorine was already, like... The heart was already telltaling her, so.
When was the New Year's kiss this episode, or was it the previous one? Did we mention that? We didn't. Oh. Because Verna kissed her.
Verna did kiss Madeline.
When the ball.
Yeah.
Dropped.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
And she called her Cleopatra.
Which is a curse, if ever.
Also, we're fairly certain that they either killed or were involved in Rufus's downfall, and that he is bricked up in the wall somewhere. And Roderick went and
spoke to him,
talked to him, and that was present.
Yeah, well, not a week ago, just after the funerals, I think.
Yeah.
But before he saw Victorine,
and then he contemplated killing himself
numerous ways.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
It was very, I was actually feeling, considering that I talked a little bit about not liking, Leo or Perry or all that.
Yeah.
I'm more empathetic to their plight and downfall than I thought I was going to be or originally was.
Well,
I love the Mike Flanagan flourish of him falling.
Yeah. Of the ones who have died so far, really only Camille was useful to the family. She's the only one that had a use for the family. The rest of even Victorine, she's not the one that she's the face of this, but she's not a surgeon. She's not a doctor. She might be a doctor, but she's not she's not, and she's only would have been useful in this instance had she not gone totally crazy.
Yeah. Also, Dupin admitted that there was no
Informant.
So
I was right.
Rachel
was
called
right.
in episode 1.
Yeah. Which
and that's not a problem.
No,
we're not one of these people, those people.
Because I do like the conversation that instigated as well, where he was like, it's really not on you. But he still was like, if I never guessed they would start dying. Like, I was just sort of hoping you'd cannibalize each other from the inside and someone would spill out, but there was nothing. And he feels quite guilty about it. And I did love that, Roderick was like, they're all dead. Just tell me who the fuck it was. Like, ridiculous. And he was like, nobody.
The Dupin and Roderick relationship is the enemies to lovers to enemies to kind of like I don't know.
I do like it quite a lot, and I like that that's the framing device of this series. It is similar to Hill House and Bly Manor.
Yeah, it's that is actually one of my favorite tropes, and we talk about it, a lot in our conversations and stuff. And I'm like, history with people is fascinating, because I was like, I mean, the difference between friend and enemy can be a wafer thin line sometimes. I was like, show me one of my best friends, and I'll show you someone that I have history with.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's. I did really enjoy. I think it was in the previous episode when he was like, "I've always respected you." Like from minute one, there was always respect. Like, just because we didn't like each other all the time. And I think that's important with like two titans of their own industries like this.
I am a little bit. I'm very curious to find out what happened to Madeline, because she was such an active and she was really steering so much of this. Why she feels inconsequential now is a little odd to me.
Well,
but she's doing something in the basement.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think she's dead in the basement.
We'll find. I mean,
yeah,
she's something.
Yeah,
I'm something. So.
I think you're right. That's largely it.
I'm just sort of.
It's good.
In it.
Yeah.
Ariana. I'm
We're really in it now.
Bye.
Bye.